All right, Shalom. Want to first off and foremost give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone to rule well. And much peace, safety, and blessings to the hopefully elect throughout the four winds, pushing this truth and sincerity and diligence. All right, it's coming back again with another quick lesson. As always, Lord will it be edifying to the elect. All right, so I just want to go into this lesson, basically expounding on how, amen, when the Lord comes back, He does not want to hear no excuses. It's not gonna be no room for excuses and asking for forgiveness. Because you tarried. What the scripture says in the Apocrypha, make no tarrying, turning to the Lord. Put off not day to day. All right, and you have a lot of that amongst Israel. The last thing that you should be doing is tarrying to turn to Yahweh Shema Shah, exactly actually knowing what's coming. All right, so without further ado, I'm gonna jump right into it. This is Luke chapter 14 verse 16. It says, then said he unto him, a certain man made a great supper and bade many, and sent his servants. Salakia, a man made a great supper and bade many, and sent his servant at supper time to say to them that were bidden, come, for all things are now ready. All right. So what, man? You had the supper was ready, the tables, the dinner. It was time to eat. Everything was put into place, in a place. So you have basically that certain man, that certain man was waiting for everyone to come in. It says, and they all with one consent began to make an excuse. All right. It says, the first said unto him, I have brought a piece of ground, and I must needs go see it. A piece of ground meaning a land. I've just purchased land, and I need you to excuse me. So I go see that. Like, that's more important than what you have set up for me. It says, and I must needs go see it. I pray thee have me excused. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I go to prove them. I pray thee have me excused. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. And that servant came and shewed his lord these things. Then the master of the house, being angry, and said to his servant, go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in hither the poor, and the maimed, and the halt, and the blind. And the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room. And the Lord said unto the servant, go out into the highways and hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. For I say to you that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper. You see? Because they all couldn't put on hold what they had, as if that was more important than what the Lord had set up for them. See? And Jake is actually going, man, those same people are here today, according to real reincarnation of scriptures. So those people are going to be here today making those same stupid decisions, to put the Lord off and say, can you have me excuse today? Or I can't go out and do the works for this. Or I have to do this. Or I can't do this. The Lord does not want to hear excuses. Even some more that we're getting closer and closer to man getting up out of here. All right. It says, and there went a great multitude with him, and he turned and said unto them, if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brother and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Meaning what? Man, whenever you come to this thing, you must count the cost. All right? And it's been telling you that the Lord comes first in this thing. All right? Doing the works, that comes first. All right? If it doesn't pertain, Yahweh Shema Shah first, amen, put it to the side. It can be put to the side, and you also have to use wisdom, when dealing with certain situations. All right, but you also have to keep in mind that, man, Yahweh Shema Shah comes first. All right, it says, And whosoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. So there's no way you can be a disciple of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You see? Your family is more important than Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You're not worthy enough to what? Be a disciple. Why? Because you're not going to have time for the truth. You're not going to have time to go out on the highways. All right? You're not going to have time to study. You're not going to have time to read. You're not going to have time to be amongst the brotherhood. You see? And that's what all a part of bearing that cross. It says, for which of you intending to build a tower, sit it not down first and counted the cost. You see, and a lot of people that comes into this thing, they don't count the cost, you know. And by them not counting the cost, they'll come in and think everything is good and not be totally broken down. And then next thing, what the ways of this world choke they seed out. All right. It says whether he have sufficient to finish. All right, because what, man, we running a race. All right. And this is speaking of building, and we're in the times of building the house of David. All right. And that takes through first and foremost the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua being on us. All right, but what if you're not actually occupied in what you're supposed to be doing? The Lord can always snatch that spirit, you know. Then you're actually going to be walking around thinking that you're a man of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, but you're not doing exactly what he required, you know, and what he commanded us to do. It says, least happily after he laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. You see, in the end, it's going to all be made manifest who those men were, you know, because it's going to be people amongst us, you know, that's actually laboring, you know, and what they're going to leave off from doing what's right because what they care for this world too much, you know, making excuses to try to justify their everyday life in the world, right? This is Sirach chapter 38, verse 24. It says, the wisdom of a learned man cometh by the opportunity of leisure. Okay, so what you do in your leisure time is how you gain wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay, that's how you gain it. But if you have no leisure time, you're not going to increase. You know, if you're not using your leisure time for the betterment of the body, okay, what? The body won't grow. And ultimately you won't grow. You know, because what, man, this thing starts with you. Okay? It starts with you. It says what of a learned man. Okay? So it has to start with you before it goes anywhere else. And that's why what, man, before we teach, the changes have to be made within ourselves first. Okay? Because what, they'll make us hypocrites. Okay? It says, and he sent his servant at supper time, Salakia. It says, and he that hath little business shall become wise. Because what, man, you don't have a lot to do. You see, you have a lot of time on your hands. And he had a little business shall become wise. So you can always be occupied in the scriptures, okay, in the prophecy, helping out the brothers, okay. And this scripture doesn't mean if you have a lot to do that you can't go to basically increase your understanding. See, that's also another excuse. All right, that's also another excuse if you have a lot of business, because what, that's showing that you love that more than Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. All right, it says, how can he get wisdom that holdeth the plow, and that glory in the gold that driveth oxen and is occupied in labors? How can he get wisdom? Hey, if you're always occupied and working and stacking your money, you know, or basically occupied in after the ways of this world, how can you get wisdom? You know, how can you find time for going and doing the works? All right. And whose talks is of bullets? You see, because what, a man talk is going to be known by his countenance. You see, a man is going to be known by his look, his appearance, and what comes out of his mouth. You see, if it's always about work, 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 you know what you're dealing with. All right. If it's not about the scripts and the brothers, hey, you know what you're dealing with. It says, and he giveth his mind to make furrows, and is diligent to give the kind fodder. So every carpenter and workmaster that laboreth night and day. See, it's the same thing, because, hey man, you know anything about carpenters? Hey, they bust their ass. You know, they work night and day nonstop. And what that's showing you that you have no time for Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay. It says, and they that cut and grave seals, and are diligent to make great variety, and give themselves to counterfeit imagery, and watch it finish a work. See, they focusing on it. You see, that's their main focus. How this is gonna come out, what this is gonna look like, you know, and that's what more important than the body of Yahweh Shem Shai being built up. See, why you have no time for it? Because you're constantly working, and once you get off work, you're tired. You don't want to get in the scripts. You don't want to read. You don't want to put up videos. You see? See, and that's why, hey, man, the Lord exactly knew, man, those spirits was always going to come back, because you have examples like this today, all right, that's being played out, okay? It says, and watch to finish a work. The smith also sitting by the anvil and considering the ironwork. And that's some real that's real hard work. See, the smith and the anvil, it says and considering the ironwork, the vapor of the fire wasted his flesh, and he fighted with the heat of the furnace, because what, that's iron. So you're constantly amongst fire, pressure. See, it says, and fight it with the heat of the furnace, because the hotter it is, the more stern it becomes. Okay, it says the noise of the hammer beating and the anvil is ever in his ears, because you're continuously amongst it. This is your work. It says, and his eyes look upon the pattern of the thing that he make it. You see, your eyes are constantly upon that pattern still. All right, rather than being on the pattern of the work of the Lord. All right. It says he set it his mind to finish his work. He set it his mind to finish his work. He's determined. You know, he's looking forward to go to work every day to finish what he left off yesterday. You see, that's not important. That's not important in the times that we're in. Yes, us brothers have to work, but it still shouldn't be no excuse why you can't do the work. Okay, it says he set it his mind to finish his work and watch it to polish it perfectly. So you making sure this work is done perfect. For who? For Esau. What is it gonna benefit you in the end? Nothing at all. You see? Yeah, you might have money, but hey man, that's not gonna deliver you. All right. It says, so does the potter sitting at his work. You know that thing about a potter, you have to really focus. You have to focus when a potter is have his hands around the clay and basically molding it to be exactly what he want. All right. It says, and turning the wheel about with his feet, who is also carefully set at his work. He is carefully set at his work. You see, it says, and make it all his work by number. He fashioned it the clay with his arm. Hey, all hands on deck to try to get what that great product. It says, and bow it down his strength before his feet. He applied himself to lead it over. He applied himself to lead it over, but not applying himself to get more wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, or applying to build up the Lord's sanctuary. That's excuses. It says he applied himself to lead it over, and he is diligent. He is diligent to make clean the furnace. All these trust in their hands. You see, all these trust in their hands. They trust in their hands, not after what? Yahweh Shem Shai. And everyone is wise in his work. Without these cannot a city be inhabited. That's true. You see, without these works that's being brought forth, cannot be inhabited. It says, and they shall not dwell where they will, nor go up and down. It says, they shall not be sought for in public counsel. You see? Yeah, these these things that you all are building and putting your time into, yeah, a city can't be inhabited unless those things are in it. But what? You won't be sought for when it comes for counsel. Why? That's the job of the men of the Lord. You see? It says, nor sit high in the congregation, because you have walked out of the congregation. You see? You're now in the congregation of the dead. It says, they shall not sit in... Whew, it says, they shall not sit on the judge's seat, nor understand the sentence of judgment. And these are all, man, the leadership of the men of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You see? Because what? Our leisure time came by getting more understanding, praying, fasting, putting on the supplements, and saying the hell with this world and what's going on in it. All right? Yeah, we all have to work. Yeah, we have things that we have to go through and deal with, and things that we have to pertain to, but it's not more important than what's laid before us. You see? Our hands are on the plow, all right? Our hands are on the plow, and we're not looking back. See, that's the difference. It says, nor understand the sentence of judgment. They cannot declare justice and judgment. So you can't even speak. You can't even speak on trying to lead someone. You see? You can't declare justice and judgment. That's not up for you to do anymore. If you're not totally focused on doing the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. It says, and they shall not be found where parables are spoken. Meaning what? You're not going to have no wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay? It says, but they will maintain the state of the world. You're going to continue to be what? In a worldly mindset. Okay? You're going to continuously be worried about what's going on in the world. And this the point right here. It says, and all their desire is in the work of their craft. You see? They only worry about what's going on at work, rather than what's going on within the body of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Okay? So this tells you that their hand is totally off the plow. You know, their hand is totally off the plow, and what is building a smith, or it's their craft. You see, their desire is in the craft of the work, man. And if you're in the spirit, you need to pray, fast, and man, seek counsel. You see, because this is the a straight way to destruction. You see, you won't be delivered in the times to come, because you're not really trusting in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right, you're really trusting in mammon. This is Luke chapter 16 and verse 13. It says, no servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve the Most High and mammon. See, can't serve the Most High in this this world. All right? Yeah, we're in the world, but hey, man, we're not of the world. And you're of the world if you're not exactly doing what you have to do for Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Why? Because that comes first. All right? You're not supposed to put off the Lord day to day. You know? You're not supposed to put the Lord on hold because you have something to do. You see? This is Sirach chapter 19 and verse 29. It says, a man may be known by his look, and one that hath understanding by his countenance, when thou meetest him. See, so, hey, man, we're spiritual men. Hey, we can see those things, you know? And it doesn't even take you being spiritual to see it. You see? If you're a man of the Lord, hey, you see it for what is known. All right? It's no going around it. All right? This is 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15. It says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. Why? Because these things will destroy you with the sword destruction. All right? And ultimately, man, this world is going to be cut off. All right? Everything around us is temporary. It says, if any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So Yahweh Shem Yahushua does not love you. Okay? If you're partakers of this world. if you're lovers of this world, all right, it says, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. So you have to examine yourself and actually see, are these things coming from within you, all right? And without making an excuse and trying to justify, no, it's not. You see, because sometimes you can make a clouded judgment just because what it is pleasing your flesh. You see, and that's the first thing it says. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh. You see, your flesh actually wants to do things of the world. All right, but it's the spirit that wants to do things right. But you can't let your flesh overshadow the spirituality of what's going on. All right, and what's right. Because ultimately you're just going to deceive yourself. It says, and the world passeth away and the lust thereof. You see, everything that's in its place is going to be cut off. The lust thereof. It says, but he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever. All right, so you're going to have only the elect men that's actually doing what they have to do, putting up the videos, going out on the highways, and what mainly having faith. You know, that's why Yahushua say, hey, when you make the return, will you find faith on earth? You see? But what, man, you can't have faith without works. That shit is dead. All right? You look at all the men of old, as far as Abraham, you know, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, what? That their faith showed by what? By their works. All right? Abraham putting Isaac on the chopping block. You see? Job was going through hell, and he didn't curse the Most High. His faith was showed by what? His countenance. Okay? And that allows you to go out and do the work and do what you have for Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right, so with that, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Amen. When Yahushua makes their return, he is not trying to hear no excuses at all. All right, it's going to be straight game time. Hey, what the scriptures say, hey, man, every man work out his own salvation with fear and trembling. All right. So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Rakakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone and rule well, and much peace, safety, and blessings to the hopefully elect throughout the four winds, pushing his truth and sincerity and diligence. Shalom.